Good morning. Today is Tuesday, April 21st, and this begins lesson 12 this week. This week we're going to be focusing through this lesson on words in context, which we're really going to highlight literal and non-literal language. Now, we have discussed this in class before, and we did some activities to go along with it, but just for a review, I'm going to quickly go over the meaning of literal and non-literal language. The first thing I need you to do, though, is if you do not have your week 5 packet and a pencil in front of you, I want you to pause this video, get your things, and then come back. The learning target says, by noticing when authors are using words and phrases in special ways, you can better understand and enjoy a story. Read. Words and phrases may have more than one meaning. For example, a clown is someone who works for the circus. That is literal language, or the real meaning. But if you call your friend a clown, you don't really or literally mean he or she is a circus clown. You just mean that your friend's behavior is silly. Then you are using non-literal meaning of the word clown. Non-literal means not literal, not usual, or another way I like to say it is not really. Not really. You don't really mean that your friend is a clown. You just mean they act silly. Authors often use non-literal language to describe characters in a story, the setting, or events more colorfully or in a way that helps you to really understand and visualize what they're talking about. If you come across a word or a phrase with an unexpected meaning, use the context clues, which we talked about last week, nearby words or phrases and sentences to figure out its meaning. Now we're going to read this passage about the little boy. His name is Arthur. Arthur liked nothing better than to stay up reading, long after he was supposed to be asleep. He would pull his blanket over his head like a tent, turn on his book light, and get lost in his story. Tonight, though, his dad caught him. "Turn off that light, night owl," said his dad. "You've got school tomorrow." So we're going to really focus on these two highlighted phrases, get lost and night owl. If you turn your page, you'll see a think graphic organizer or a chart that breaks down the literal meaning, the context clues, and then potentially what the word means. Not the literal meaning, but the non-literal meaning in the passage. So the chart goes ahead and gives us information like a literal meaning of a night owl is a big-eyed bird that is usually awake at night. The context clues that we have: Arthur stays up reading, he should be asleep, and he is awake later than he is supposed to be. All these things help us to understand what the actual meaning or the non-literal meaning of the phrase night owl used by the author is. So what we know the author means when he calls the boy a night owl is he's talking about a person who enjoys staying up late. So you can go ahead and write this in your blank spot in your chart just the way I typed it out. Go ahead and pause your video and do that now. Next, the phrase get lost. It literally means to not know where you are or to get where you want to go. But the context clues that we have in the story, it says that Arthur is lost in his story. So we're going to use this context clue to help us understand the non-literal meaning. The non-literal meaning is He is so focused on his story that he doesn't notice anything else. Go ahead and pause your video here and make sure you fill out your chart exactly the way I have it. The next portion of the activity is to talk. So you can talk with anyone in your home or anyone where you're staying and talk about this question. Why is night owl a good way to describe Arthur in the passage? As you are talking, please use these words: literal, non-literal, and context clues. Go ahead and pause your video and complete the talk portion now. After you have completed that portion of the exercise, go ahead and turn to our article for today, Seaside Surprises. Now, if you're watching the video, I want you to go ahead and write our mystery word for today. Our mystery word will be whales. Whales. So go ahead and write down the mystery word now so that after you complete your work and this video, you can text me that mystery word and you will receive extra points on the leaderboard. As you're reading Seaside Surprises, make sure you pay close attention to the close reader habits. Which words and phrases are unfamiliar or used in unusual ways? Underline the details that help you figure out their meanings. After you complete reading the article, come down to the think portion of the activity. Now we have another chart like we just completed together. Literal meaning of a word, well, a phrase, frozen in place. So this is, whoops, hang on. Here we go. This phrase right here is what we're going to focus on, and it can be found in paragraph 2. It says it right here, paragraph 2. So complete the chart to figure out the meaning. So first off, it says frozen in place would mean turned from water into ice. But one of the context clues that we can use is barely breathing. So let's go back up to paragraph 2. Right here's where you will be working. And you're going to look for the phrase froze in place. So I'm just skimming this paragraph to look for those words. Here it is, froze in place. We all froze in place, barely breathing, until the animal slowly walked away. Froze in place. I believe that the meaning or the non-literal meaning of this phrase would be that you stopped and didn't move. I know that because it talks about how surprised they were by the animal and that they all stopped and watched. So I would write here that you stopped moving and watched something. So you can pause the video and write that in this portion of the chart. After you write your answer, go down to the talk part. It says to look at the phrase, seals happily baking themselves, in paragraph 3. What is the literal meaning of baking? So I want you to talk to someone now and tell them what the actual meaning, the real meaning of baking is. If you said that baking means that you are cooking something in the oven, you are correct. What does the word baking mean in this passage? The word baking in the passage probably means soaking in the sun. Let's see, paragraph 3. Waves hammered the shore. We saw seagulls, crabs, clams, and even some seals happily baking themselves out on the warm rocks. So this tells me that they are laying in the sun. Baking just means laying in the sun. Short answer response. Number 3, this is your writing portion. It says to look at the description of the waves in paragraph 3. Describe the literal meaning of hammered. Then explain how hammered is used in the text. Tell which context clues helped you figure out the meaning. You will complete your answer on page 206. So if we go back to paragraph 3, we're going to look for the word hammered. You can do that now. Hammered. Waves hammered the shore. Then I'm going to go down to page 206, and I'm going to guide you through writing your answer because I want to make sure that we are all restating the question, answering the question. And then the next story, you're going to do it all by yourself. So I would say the literal meaning of the word hammered is to pound a nail or object into something else. The non-literal meaning of hammered in paragraph 3 is that the water is smashing into the rocks. Now you notice I gave, restating the question, I gave my answer, and now I'm going to give my evidence or my proof. And I'm going to do that by telling what the author says. Waves hammered the shore. So I'm going to give my evidence here. The author says, and I'm going to use quotation marks to show the exact wording in the passage. Waves hammered, what did it say? The shore. Waves hammered the shore. Yes. So I need to go back and fix something. I noticed a mistake. The shore. So here I said the water is smashing into the rocks. That's not accurate. The shore is the land. So water is smashing into the land. And I need to end with quotation marks. Now, I would check my writing by going through and checking for capitalization, periods, correct spelling, and making sure that my work, my writing makes sense. Now you're going to go to The Wind and the Leaves by George Cooper. This is a poem, and it has literal and non-literal language inside the poem. And you're going to read the poem first, then you're going to begin answering number 1, number 2, number 3, and then your short answer response on number 4. Please make sure you follow all of the essential things to do while answering questions. So you should definitely highlight or circle important parts of the question and go back into the text to find your answer. And then don't forget, when you're answering number 4, you will answer that on page 207, right here. And don't forget, text me the mystery word, which is whales. You can also take a picture of your short answer response for The Wind and the Leaves, number 4. Take a picture and send it to me through a text, and you'll get extra points on the leaderboard for that as well. I hope you all are having a great day, and don't forget, we're having our wave parade starting at 4:30 today. We've sent the times and the streets that we'll be on, so if we're not going to be on your street, get a parent and walk to the closest street near you, and Miss Lee and Maddie and Hunter and Mr. Lee and Silas will have a special surprise for you. We'll be throwing out some pretty cool stuff, so make sure you're looking for us. We love you and miss you. Bye.